Hello everyone and welcome to episode 3 of Last Heart Left. I'm Rosin.
I'm Marie.
I'm Trey.
And we are here today to talk about the most controversial thing to ever happen in 2019. That is a lie, Star Wars just came out. We're not here to talk about that though, and honestly, thank God.
What? Why am I here then?
Oh, I don't know. You're the biggest Star Wars fan I know, Marie.
I know.
Yeah. You're just constantly talking about Star Wars. It's amazing. No, we're here to talk about Pokemon Sword and Shield, also known as Pokemon Swish Swoosh, as every time I see that acronym, I want to call it. Yeah, it came out in early November. It's been like a month, right?
Yeah, something like that, give or take.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
November.
you've both beaten it. Well, I know, Marie, you've beaten it. Trick, did you beat it?
No, actually, I didn't.
You're a fake fan. Get the fuck out of it. No.
Oh, no, actually, I, went out to the 9 p.m., opening release night, so I'm the biggest fan here.
I'm like, wait, did you?
Yeah,
What was
because
that
that's
like?
why what is it?
Wow, dumb idiot went to the roof and didn't even finish the game.
Yeah, I know, it's like kind of like funny because I picked it up early just so I could talk about it on episode 1, and now I didn't even finish it going into episode 3.
It's amazing. Well, I think it's only fair to talk about it with before we even talk about the game itself, like talking about the history with the series, which I feel like is probably going to be like pretty similar to anyone listening to this who also has history with the series, because it was like a phenomena for our generation. Did we all start with the first gen?
I sure did.
I
I
did.
didn't.
Okay, yeah. I know, like, we have some people in our friend group who are young enough that, like, they didn't.
Serious.
Yeah, I know, right?
Babies.
Gen Z. But yeah, like, I guess, like, I'll recap mine quickly, and then Trick, you can recap yours, because I think we both talked about it a little bit in episode 1, and then we'll give Marie, you can have your chance to talk about what it meant to you when you were a kid. I played through Gen 1 like everyone else did, and, like, was part of the whole, like, big boom of, like, oh my god, this is amazing. This is the best thing ever. And then Gen 2 came around, also really good, much improved sequel. Gen 3 is, like, probably in my heart, like, Gen 3 is, like, the peak of, like, when I cared the most about that stuff. I was the cool kid in my group at school who went to the dumb event and got the stupid ticket things for my copies of Ruby and Fire Red. That let me do all the cool shit in the islands and catch all the legendaries and shit that you couldn't otherwise catch. So, like, yeah, and then Gen 4 came around, and I was really excited still, but, like, I think I was starting to, like, want different things out of video games as I was getting a little bit older, especially, like, RPGs and stuff, especially in terms of, like, story. And I was really excited, and, obviously as a kid, and trying to save up money. And then I bought Diamond, and I didn't like it. I just thought it was too similar, and I was kind of like, oh, I saved up all this money, and it just kind of feels like the same game again, and I was kind of bummed, and, like, it kind of put me off the series for, like, a while. I was a little bit more curious about Black and White and stuff, because I remember people saying, like, oh, the story's way better in this one, and, like, I checked out a playthrough, and I wasn't super impressed with what I saw. And I just kind of didn't try for a while. Like, I borrowed a copy of X from a friend, and I was like, this is neat, but, like, it didn't really grab me. And then when around the time Sun and Moon came around, a little bit after, and everyone was talking about it, I was like, you know what? I think I kind of feel like playing one of these again, and just kind of, like, even if it isn't exactly what I'm looking for, like, this seems a lot cooler, and, like, maybe they're doing some cool stuff with it. I think this would be the good time for me to jump on. And everyone's like, just wait, because Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon are coming out. And I was like, okay, I'm going to wait for Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. And actually, before that, I should say, I really was interested in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, but then everyone who I know and trust video game opinions of was like, wow, this game sucks. So I did not buy them. And then when Ultra Moon and Ultra Sun came out, people didn't really seem to like them either, and I was like, well, fuck. So I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna wait for the ones they put out on the Switch. And that will, like, clearly that's gonna be, like, the really good jumping on point, and there's, like, no one will possibly be mad about those, and I was wrong. So, but nevertheless, I ended up going for it, and I'm happy I did. But we'll talk about that in a little bit. Trick, why don't you recap your history?
Okay. So yeah, I started with Yellow, I remember, as my first Pokemon game, but also I was like 5 and I had just come from Korea and I didn't really know how to speak English. So like that game, I mean, I got to the E4, but I never like was able to beat it because I only ever used a Pidgeot and I kept getting my ass kicked by Lorelei. So that was as far as I ever got with Pokemon Yellow back in the day. And then like as I was, getting older, I like bought like Pokemon Silver, which I liked a lot more because by then I knew more English. So I think like Gen 2 left a bigger impression on me. And then, I bought like almost all the games. I think by Diamond, I had actually thought, oh, maybe I should use like an entire like team of 6 Pokemon instead of just using one. So I like Diamond a lot, I think, for that reason. Um, I think, I don't know why, around the time like when Black and White came out, I think I was like starting to fall, like, or I was starting to become like pretty uninterested in Pokemon. Didn't help that like I didn't like at the time I didn't really like a lot of the Gen 5 designs. But what is it? After like the 3DS came out, X and Y, like I bought that. Didn't play Oras because yikes. That oh my god. Oh, I got a phone call. Hold on.
Oh no. Well, while that's happening, Marie, do you want to tell us your history with the series?
Okay. So yeah, I also started with Red and Blue. Didn't I mean I had a good time. I think at the time the Pokemon animated series came out and I was like obsessed with that.
Oh yeah, same.
And so while I don't actually have that many good memories of actually playing Pokemon Blue, this animated series, oh my gosh, yeah. Remember playing Yellow, Gold and Silver, super got into it. Ruby and Sapphire, very, very special to me. They were my favorites for the longest time. And then wow, okay. Well, it's my turn now, Trick.
Yeah, you spoiled your chance.
Okay, that's fair.
I got a DS kind of later, so I didn't really get into, the Diamond, Pearl, Platinum series. I understand why people like it. I'm kind of waiting for just a remake of that myself so I can play it.
Oh god, those are coming up probably, huh?
Yeah.
I hope.
Line,
although I hope they're better than Ross. Had a really great time with Heart Gold and Soul Silver. Actually, my favorite games of the series. Black and White were okay. Didn't really get too into it. Played Black and White 2, liked it. X and Y, disappointment. Although I liked it more than a lot of people did. Oras was major disappointment because I was super hyped for it because I'm like, oh, I love the remake of Heart Gold and Soul Silver. This is gonna be good. Sun and Moon was really fun. Never played Ultra Sun and Moon because I'm just kind of like, it's like a rehash. So, nah. Skipped the Let's Go, then played Sword and Shield. So, pretty much played every generation. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. All right, Jake, off to you.
Yeah. So I guess back to me. I just realized I didn't like go over some of the remakes. Yeah, like I played Fire Red. It was okay. I mean, I guess it was a nicer way for me to experience Gen 1 because, didn't really understand what I was doing in Yellow. I also, played Soul Silver, those are my favorite remakes in the entire series because it's so good. But like, yeah, I played X. It was, yeah, and then I played Moon. Skipped out on Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon because I think it was like too soon to like play those games again. And then yeah, I didn't play Let's Go either because I didn't really care about the way they kind of designed that game. So I guess that's it. I mean, yeah, I guess for the main line, that's it.
Oh no, phone call. Hold on.
Wait, is that your That's
No, that was a joke. I'm sorry. I just wanted to be an asshole because you didn't mute your phone.
I wish that was your ringtone. That would have been better, actually.
No. I just wanted to make fun of Trick.
dick.
Yeah, I mean that covers where we're at. I think we're all allowed to say we're veterans. I don't
Yeah.
know why I pronounced it like that.
Veterans.
Veterans. Well, I guess speaking of British accents.
Oh yeah.
So Sword and
'Cause,
Shield
yeah.
get announced, and they're, it's the UK.
Oh.
Yay.
Yay! And so I think y'all probably followed the news for this, because like I didn't really like start following this or like really get interested in it too much until like a month or two before it came out, and I think that was when a lot of the like discussion going around this game started to really boom into the mainstream like video game discussion in general. So what I guess like just following like the reveal of it, because wasn't it revealed in early 2019 even too?
Oh my gosh.
Was
But
it?
I don't even remember because, like you, it was kind of like, yeah, it's announced, and I kind of keep tabs on it, but I didn't follow it too deeply.
Yeah. I just remember the first reveal when I looked it up, like, oh, what day was it first revealed, and it was shockingly recent compared to when it actually came out. Let's see.
Was it last year's E3? No.
Let's see.
I really can't remember.
Was it an E3 or like a direct? Yeah, because.
Or maybe it was a direct.
Yeah, it was a 2018 direct, it looks like.
Okay.
Oh wow. Okay, yeah, only like a year then, huh?
Yeah. So. Huh. Yeah, so I guess when, because it felt like there was also a time too where I saw a lot of disappointment around the game, or at least how it was looking in general, and then that evolved later into like the weird vitriolic thing that it became.
Dexit.
Yeah, like
Oof.
like, I mean, when you two were seeing everything about it, were you like, oh, this looks cool, or were you kind of like, I'm not really feeling it? Like, how did you feel just from all the pre-release stuff going into it?
I was gonna buy it regardless because it's a Pokemon game, and I know that's probably a bad attitude to have, but I mean, I didn't think it looked terrible. I think a lot of those concerns had bases, like I understood where they were coming from, but I also thought some were really, really nitpicky, and you wouldn't even find them unless you're specifically looking for them.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of felt like, I guess the same way. Like when people were complaining about the Dexit stuff, I didn't care. Like it never, like, I don't know, like the whole like, oh, not every Pokemon is available thing. Like, and like that's how I always like felt about it. Like I don't use almost every Pokemon. Like I guess for some people, like maybe they have have a lot of sentimental value for certain Pokemon, so like those ones being excluded out of Sword and Shield might, kind of suck for them. But like beyond that, or like aside from maybe like competitive battling people, like I didn't really understand what like the big problem was.
To be honest, I caught a little over 200 in my playthrough, and by the time I had reached that, I was like, this is exhausting. I get the people that want to go out of their way and like do the completionist thing, but like for in this case, like I cannot. It is too much work for me.
So interestingly enough, after catching quite a bit of Pokemon, after a point I was like, oh, I kind of wish there were more Pokemon in this game. Like, I mean, I don't need every single one of them. What is there, like 800 now? I don't even know.
There's,
But,
I think, almost 900. I think something like
yeah,
that.
like that's a lot, But I can understand why people are upset. Not all the Pokemon are in. I kind of wish, they released more content where they put more Pokemon in.
Bring back Magmar.
Boober.
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 Okay, Boober.
Yeah. Oh shit. Oh no. For those of you
Ooh.
who are unaware, Magmar's name in Japan is Boober, which is the funniest fucking thing, and I think they're cowards for changing it, honestly.
Gee, why would they call me that? I don't even know.
No, yeah, like, me going into it, I was like, okay, I get that people are concerned, but also, like, I think my thing is that, like, I've, in general, just kind of always wished that the series was a little less formulaic, and I feel like I've always kind of approached the series from this point of, like, I already kind of know that this isn't fully for me or necessarily what I want out of, like, an RPG thing like this, so I didn't even feel like really, like, even felt like it was my place to even complain about anything or be like, oh, like, I think this is weird because, like, this just isn't my series. Like, I feel like I'm at someone else's house when I play these, you know? Like, I'm not gonna complain about the food you're serving me because I'm just, like, I don't know, I feel like an asshole. It's not really my territory that I'm not in my comfort zone. But at the same time, like, I do think that, I don't know, like, I guess I understand the, like, frustration, like, oh, this is moving on to Switch and I wish it was a little bit more or something like that, because especially too, and I know that this is a very specific problem to me because literally everyone else and their mother has been playing these nonstop and plays, like, every single one. I was really hoping that this would be more of a jumping on point to be like, hey, maybe for, like, people who played these when they were younger and want to get back into them now, like, hey, this is a good point to kind of jump back in and kind of see how the series has progressed and evolved over time. And in some ways it kind of was that. In other ways I wish they went a little further with it. I think that they introduced some cool stuff here that I'd like to see them fleshed out more. And to be honest, like, I mostly really enjoyed the game from what I played. Oh, I guess we're getting more into the game itself now, but like, I mostly really enjoyed playing the game, but also just based off the preview, like, press coverage stuff, I wish this was more of a, oh god, I'm gonna say the word, I wish this was more of an evolution in some ways.
Heyo.
Yeah. But yeah, I didn't really know what to think going in, but I was like, yeah, I'm good. I think it's about time I give another one of these games a chance. So let's first talk about what starter did y'all choose?
Sobble.
Oh. Look at this guy.
Well, I know.
And Score Bunny
You know
Squad
who's
over
my
here.
buddy? The Score Bunny.
Hell yeah. Score Bunny Squad.
Oh yeah.
I can't
Just
believe
here by myself with my Sobble.
we should
Well,
probably
there's no one
have-
here in the Grookey gang, so who cares?
I was about to say we should have probably gotten some Grookey representation in the house tonight, but I don't know anyone who picked Grookey, I don't think.
I thought Matt picked Grookey.
He
Oh,
did.
Okay.
The stick monkey.
Matt could not make it because I believe work happened tonight, so but we invited him.
No
Honestly,
Grookey gang tonight.
yeah, I know. Imagine having a job. What the fuck? No.
Ew.
So, I honestly, I wish that we could have someone to talk about Grookey's capabilities, because the only time I ever encountered Grookey or his evolutions, I just killed them in one hit because Hop doesn't know how to pick a good starter.
Oh man, but elemental advantage, my dude. Oh,
It cuts
He's
to
so
his
smart.
face as he says that every single time. Oh my god.
Oh,
I guess we should set this up.
7 times, not enough.
I guess we should set up the premise of this game for the probably minority of people listening to this who don't know about it. And also, by the way, we are going to go into spoilers, I guess. Just this is going to be a spoiler-filled discussion. We're just going to talk about our experience with the full game. Basically, it is a very similar premise to a lot of the games that came before in some ways, where you are a young child. You get to create your character at the start. Like, I believe that's kind of how it works with, like, the modern games now. You're not really a set person, really.
Oh, with character customization, I believe that
Yeah.
came in with X and Y. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you are just you're living in some bumfuck nowhere town with a bunch of Woolo, which are sheep, near a mysterious forest that always is foggy.
Literally right next to your house.
Literally right next to your house.
Yeah.
And you have a best friend named Hop, who happens to be the little brother of the current champion of the region, which I am forgetting the name of.
Leon.
Galar.
No, yeah, Galar. I
Galar.
remember Leon. I can't ever forget
I
that asshole's
know.
cake. Did I say cake? I meant cape, but
No, you know, the cake that he wears on his back.
the cake on his back with all the brands on it. Um,
Food Network cake.
Network cake.
um, yeah, and you both get sponsored by Leon to partake in this region's what is it? Is it just called the gym challenge?
Gym challenge, I think.
Yeah,
which is
something like that.
so like this. Correct me if I'm wrong, but this seems like a much more formalized approach than in the other games, where like I was always under the impression as a kid that any asshole who had like a team could just go into any of the gyms and be like, "Hey, I want to challenge you and get a badge." This seems like you need to sign up for it. You need a sponsor. You need to do it in a certain order. Like,
I think
Yeah.
it has to do with a lot of how the Galar region does, Pokemon gym battles and like the league stuff in general, because it's seen more as like a sport with the big stadiums.
yeah, with the
Compared
worst
to,
crowd
like-
chance of all. No.
Like like one of the funniest like tweets I saw regarding Pokemon was someone saying, old Pokemon gangs fighting a gym leader is going to like the back of an abandoned Planet Fitness and beating someone up. This one you're fighting someone in like a stadium. It's a sport. It's a spectacle. It's cool.
Yeah. And also,
yeah.
yeah, like all the gyms are literally just stadiums, which is I think a really neat take too.
It's super hype. It really sets the mood, and I love it. I think that's one of the strongest points of the game.
Yeah. I also thought so the way I've at least seen it talked about, and even my memories from the first 3 generations, the main core of all these games has always been like, okay, you're gonna go through 8 gyms, and then you're gonna fight like the Elite Four or like whatever team at the end, and then you're gonna fight the champion, and you're gonna be the champion. Somewhere along the line, there's always stuff involving like a criminal team. And also you have a rival. Like there's a bunch of different subplots that kind of all tie together throughout the main journey. This one, more than a lot of others recently, it seems like, really focuses on the gym stuff, and they've flushed it out appropriately. Like all of the gyms now, instead of just being like, I guess, like kind of miniature RPG dungeons where you fight trainers as you go through like a little tiny maze thing, they all have their unique gimmicks and challenges associated with them. Some of them I thought were better than others.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, ironically, my favorite one is just the fairy one because of how goofy it is.
Oh, the fairy one's
Yeah, it's
really
pretty strong.
good because it's so stupid.
Yeah, it's just you are literally the gimmick is that the gym leader is really old and looking for a replacement, so it's like a job interview.
But it's also really funny because how much personality she has in the questions that she asks you.
Yeah, she asks you at one point. Now, my understanding, so at her final question, and also keep in mind, depending on how you answer the questions, your Pokemon get buffed or debuffed, which is really funny too. I believe at the end of her thing, she says, how old am I? And you can either say like 85 or 16 or something
It's
like that.
88 or 16. Yeah.
Does she get mad at you no matter what you say?
No, so actually,
if you choose 88, she gets mad because she's like, well, you didn't have to say it.
Yeah.
And I believe if you choose 16, then she's like, okay.
Oh, okay.
she kind of has like a laugh about it.
I was thinking that the joke was gonna be like, oh, you're gonna get it wrong no matter what, because 16 is the wrong answer, but it's nice, and 88 is the right answer, but it's mean. No, I thought that was really fun. Some of them I was kind of like, okay, this is whatever. I think the rock one, where you can't see anything and you need to slowly walk around the pitfalls, I don't think that worked as intended, and I just got annoyed.
Oh, right, you have sword, don't you?
Yeah, I do. Oh yeah, I forgot.
Okay.
Two of the gyms are different.
I
Between...
think it's basically the same
Yeah.
gimmick because
It's
it was
was
like that
nice.
for the ghost and the fighting one also.
Oh,
the same
okay.
gimmick with the teacups.
And, yeah,
But
the
yeah, that one's
polish.
really annoying. Wait for the rock one, you had like limited sight.
It was like a sandstorm, and you needed to use like dowsing rods to like.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so for the ice one, it's ice on the ground, and then you
You
use the
fall.
dowsing rod and say,
Yeah.
yeah, it's the
Not
same
fall.
thing, just different skin.
Yeah. And then, like, at the end, there's, like, a blizzard at that point, so, again, you can't see.
Oh yeah, you both have shield, huh?
Mhm.
Yeah.
What else was I going to talk about? Do we want to talk about? Well, actually, I guess. Did y'all have any favorite gym leaders or things in general? Just like challenges.
Let me say, after X and Y, and like I feel bad because I don't really remember the Kahunas from Sun and Moon, but I actually really like the gym leaders in this game, and I loved how all of them had trainer cards and like an additional trainer card that you could get from post game. Like they had a lot of personality. And they were fun, but other than that, they didn't really do much with them, and I wish they did. Let me see which one.
Yeah, I guess like compared to like Sun and Moon and definitely X and Y, there's a little bit more going on. I kind of almost wish that they didn't do the split gyms because I feel like those four characters like Bia, Alistair, Melanie, and Gordy, like, because the game didn't really bother to account for like the difference in like the main story, so they don't show up at all.
Yeah, I wish they could at least show
like,
up post game.
Yeah, or like something. Because I guess they probably didn't have the time to like add them into the game somehow aside from their gym battles.
Nah, man, exclusives.
Yeah, I don't think it was really worth it then, honestly.
But gym leaders that I liked Piers and Raihan a lot. I thought they were fun.
Oh yeah, Piers is cool.
Piers has, yeah,
Piers,
and he is actually pretty involved in the game.
Yeah, he becomes your weird buddy in the like in that towards the end there. It's like, really weird.
What is it? Shoutouts to Raihan, because like, you know, I just thought, oh, he's the dragon guy, but then like you fight him and he's like, wait, he's the dragon and the sandstorm guy? Like,
yeah, because his gimmick is all about weather.
Yeah, and I was like, yo, this game got me for a sec. I mean, I beat his ass anyway, but like it got me for a sec.
The only times I really felt challenged in the game were, well, I guess from the gyms were I really went into the I really want to say Nemissa because of fucking soul hackers, and I'm sorry, the Nessa gym because like, you know, early game and I chose the fire starter, and the only like electric type I had was Chin Chow. So that was my bad, but I mean, I still made it on my first go. And then, yeah, Raihan gave me a little bit of trouble, but I managed to wiggle my way into still winning. And also at that point, I have like infinite revives because I kept finding them on the ground in the wild area, so.
I didn't really have trouble with any of the gym leaders because this game makes you so over-leveled anyway.
Oh, it does. It really does.
It's like to a ridiculous amount. Like, I know the past games also had XP share, and you could pretty much overpower the gym leaders, but this one's just ridiculous because you can't even turn it off. And the only way...
Oh yeah, carry on.
Oh no, I was gonna say the only way that I could really keep a more even level team was by constantly switching Pokemon out.
Yeah, that's also what I did, except for the part where like at some point, like I told myself like I'm gonna use like maybe 12 Pokemon, you know, 2 teams of 6. So I just started like catching like whatever I liked. And then at some point I realized I'm catching like and using more than 12 Pokemon, and like nobody's like properly leveled and I'm actually just getting my ass beat by everything. So until like I noticed that, I like had to like, or like once I noticed that, I had to slow down and
See, give you some kind of challenge though.
Yeah, it was fun. Yeah, I dug it.
I use like whoever I was like, oh, you're cool, you're okay, get in. And then I knew if I realized there was a certain gym coming up or like a certain challenge that I had to account for a particular type, I would change. So, like I would at least include one party member who would be able to account for that. Like I guess I had that Chin Chow named Deftones Tony, who I would use when I needed to fight against water. Listen, I name every single one that I catch unless I accidentally hit the B button, which case it just goes with the default name and I need to go back and rename them. But I mean, if someone stopped pulling their weight and like stopped learning moves and I was like, okay, you had to go. Like my Delibird named Norman Reedus, who was just not an effective member of the team past a point, even though I kept giving him HMs. So he went the fuck in the box.
He's just going back to Death Stranding, you know.
He's going to the Death Stranding box.
He's very
that's
successful
why you
there.
named him Norman Reedus.
Yeah, because he's
delivery.
Yeah, it's Norman Reedus. It just barely fit.
Oh my gosh.
And I mean, like, even I had Morpeko on my team after I caught Morpeko for like the whole game because it's one of like top 5 designs for the little critters now. And honestly, like Aura Wheel is a super powerful move. But at the same time, Morpeko is a very fragile creature who maybe I should have not had on the team, but fuck it, I made it work.
Hey, I mean, any Pokemon you want to use, you make them usable.
Yeah, and especially this game, you can just keep shoving candy down its throat until it gets stronger, so...
Oh my gosh, yeah, there's so many rare candies in this game, my god.
Yeah, just eat all of the fucking Jolly Ranchers in the world, kid. You're gonna go far. I think, though, let's talk about the wild area a bit, because that was one of the main gimmicks, or, well, not gimmicks, but, like, additions. Like, it is a full-fledged, like, new addition for the series. And, like, the one I think that was the most pushed and the most exciting, because it's, I think, the full realization of, hey, we're on a console now, we're able to do, like, a big environment like this.
The wild area, like, I know we talked about this in, the first episode, but let's go over it
I
again.
wasn't there.
Well, yeah. So, like, when they talked about the wild area, they made it sound like the wild area was the only place where Pokemon ran around, and, like, otherwise it was just gonna be, like, the old games, where, like, you run into the tall grass, and Pokemon are, just, like, randomly spawn, but that wasn't the case, and, like, it happens on, like, any other route in the game, where, like, they did the thing like they did in Let's Go, where, like, the actual models will appear in the tall grass and you can run into them, or you could just, like, have a random battle if you, like, run around long enough. So, like, I don't understand why they marketed it like that, like, because it didn't seem that unique, I guess.
Can I be honest? I was a little disappointed, especially when I started to go through. Like, there are some routes towards the end of the game that get a little more interesting with the design. Like, there's the one that's kind of more in, like, the canyon with all the ladders and stuff. I'm like, okay, that's neat. There's, like, the icy one on the way to the, like, dark city place or whatever, and that's kind of cool, I guess. There's a fucking octopus that beats the shit out of you there. But I really kind of wish my impression leaving this game is, man, I really wish they just got rid of the whole route thing altogether and just really fleshed out the wild area, and that becomes the new route system. And even because, like, obviously there's performance issues, like, as soon as you go online and other people start running around, it fucking chugs. It's really bad. Even if they couldn't do that, but, like, imagine a world where you had, like, 5 wild areas, and each one of them had, like, 3 different towns in it that you could go to. And, like, maybe they figure out a way to, like, make it so that you can't go everywhere in that wild area until you do certain plot stuff, so you don't get, like, lost or too over your head. But I think that would have been really cool, especially with, like, I mean, it's a completely different series, but just, a big part of the latest Mario and Zelda games have been, hey, like, here are these big giant worlds or whatever to, like, play around in and stuff. And I kind of wish that maybe Pokemon started to go that route a little bit too, where they're like, hey, go explore and, like, see all these different cool environments. Because I think when the wild area is at its best is when I'm like, oh, I want to see what's in this, like, weird, like, desert part of it, and then a bunch of fucking Growliths are running around, and I'm like, yeah, I love Growlithe, and, like, it's all fun and cool. And then you get chased around by a fucking Rhydon, and it's terrifying. Like, I think that stuff is really cool. The problem is that the game, you reach a point where you start to get towards the end of the wild area, and the game just kind of feels like it's running out of stuff to give you there, and it's like, I'm not going to spend any more time here. And then you beat the game, and then they just automatically all level up to, like, be higher
60.
base. Yeah. And it's like,
Yeah,
that's weird.
I really don't like that. I wish the different Pokemon in the wild area had different levels. I really hate how everything is just uniform all around. Like, why?
It's I also, I mean, I get why they do it, because they want people to play the game as long as possible, but I don't like, and I know that this has been a problem or, like, a thing with the series.
Yeah, I don't need a level 60 Caterpie though. Oh my gosh. Like,
I don't like the weather thing. Or the fact that, because I know that this has been an issue with people, especially, like, adults with busy schedules and lives and stuff like that. Like, these games run off a real world clock, and that affects, like, when things will show up, and you have to mess around with your console's clock if you want to catch certain things that only come out at night or whatever. And that kind of has always sucked. And what they do in this game is that you have the wild area has like I think like 8 different weather patterns, like hail, sandstorm, fog, rain, like all this different shit, and it'll like each of those have different like they will impact the rates of like when certain like rare types of Pokemon show up, and like some of them only show up in specific areas in specific weather conditions, and you just need to keep waiting on different days to see if the weather conditions are right. And like that especially was when I knew like I am not catching all 400 of these little fuckers. I do not have the patience to log in every day and check and do that. I just cannot do that.
Yeah.
I think it would have been better if maybe the weather changed at least like twice a day, or there was a way like if you connected online or something, it would just kind of refresh the weather.
Or like even if
Like-
camping out changed it, that would have been cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, just any way to manipulate it. Like,
Yeah, because
'cause
sometimes I
one
would turn
day-
on my Switch and be like, oh, is it this weather? Nope. Okay, I'm going to turn it off and then I'll check another day for specific
or
Pokemon.
like, yeah.
And also, I
'Cause,
think it
like-
really sucks that you I don't know if people figure out exactly when everything unlocks, but you don't have every type of weather unlocked at the start of the game, which sounds really dumb to say because it's weather. But until you beat the game, certain weather patterns will just not show up in the wild area, I guess, and that seems
I
kind
wasn't
of
even aware of that.
that seems kind of
it's
unfair.
Extremely stupid.
Um,
But what was I gonna say? Yeah, like, cause otherwise, you have to like fiddle with your Switch's like clock settings, and I did, and that's the only reason why like I have Melanie's league card, 1 year in the past, I guess, while everybody else, is from 2019.
No, the only
like-
game that will make me actually go and mess with like my system's internal schedule is Animal Crossing. This ain't it, Chief. So,
but how, you get the weeds.
eh.
Oh yeah, like I did that in like Wild World. I just set my DS
I
clock
did
to
it
like
too.
2099, and it's like, oh, there's just weeds everywhere.
Okay, yeah, I
I'm
didn't go
never
that
pulling
far.
these
I
out.
actually I did it in. I remember a specific conversation as a child that I was involved in, where I did it on the GameCube version of the game, and I was talking to another friend who had done it. Well, actually, it wasn't even a friend; it was just another classmate. And then later on that day, that classmate was talking to another classmate about Animal Crossing, and they're like, "Yeah, I changed my GameCube clock so that I could get Christmas stuff." And the other classmate said, "Cheater!" And then the other classmate started crying, and I was like, "I'm not gonna admit that I did that now. I don't want to be labeled a cheat. This is bullshit." And yeah, that's a fun Animal Crossing memory. Anyways, we got distracted. I got distracted. Yeah, I just found the routes really underwhelming. Also, like, I know that they're probably technically on paper the same size as they have always been in all the previous games. The routes feel like they are 10 feet
Short?
long. Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually don't think that's the case.
No?
You think they're
mean-
actually shorter?
I think they're actually shorter, and I was gonna bring this up at some point, but like ever since they made the jump to 3D, like in terms of map size for like everything, it's just been smaller. Like Game Freak, like they're already a small studio as is, like they could not handle that transition well, I don't think, because like if you think about it, like every single cave post X and Y is extremely small. And like that wasn't the case in like gens 1 through 5. So like, and I do think it applies like similarly with the routes too. Like I don't think like they are short, like because they just don't have enough time, I don't think, to like design like a more filled out route than like before.
I also thought that the town design in this game was very uneven. Like, Hammerlock is like a cool ass big city, and like I get like the town you started in is supposed to be small, so that's fine. But also there was part of me that kind of wished there was a lot larger city or like town areas with more stuff to do in them, like
Oh my
Hammerlock.
gosh, I agree with you.
Balloonly.
Man, that place is so pretty, but there's nothing to do there.
And like
And then
it's like the
Spike
coolest
Myth.
looking place in the game.
Yeah,
Spike
Spike
Myth
which is
and-
just a gym.
I really was hoping that the town would open up after you beat the gym leader, and then nothing.
Nope.
And like even like Nessa's town looks neat, and like I kind of like it's like, oh, you go and grab seafood while you're there. I'm like, oh, that's cute. But then like as soon as you beat Nessa, there's never a reason to go back.
It's kind of interesting because I compare this game a lot to like X and Y in that there is so much it could have done, and they introduced a lot and they didn't go far enough with the things. But it reminds me, you guys. Wait, Robin, did you play X and Y? I forgot
No,
already.
I borrowed it from a friend and I played like probably 2 hours of it, but that's it.
Did you play it, Trek?
Yeah, I beat it.
All right. Do you remember there was like a huge city in Y that had like different districts? Oh my gosh. And I
You mean
kind of
like the one with like the Eiffel Tower?
yeah, that one.
Yeah.
I kind of wish this game had something like that in it. Like, not exactly the way that one was, but like they could have had a really big town where you could have like done a lot of stuff in, or just added more to the towns that have nothing. Oh gosh, it's
Like,
just such a disappointment because some of those areas were really nice, but there's nope, nothing.
I
They
will
actually made
I will
some pretty
say
neat
I like
environments and
their modern urban fashion design that is actually pretty on point, at least with all the guys' outfits that I experienced. I liked the hat selection and the hoodie selection. It made me feel valid. I don't wear hats in real life, but I'll wear them in video games.
I would try on more clothes, but I would have to grind for money, and you need a lot
they're
of
very
money to buy
expensive.
everything.
Yeah.
And playing as a girl, there's more stuff to buy.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Yeah, isn't like there like a ridiculously like shitload more of stuff if you're playing as a girl, and also like it's way more expensive overall. Like that's...
It costs more because there's more. Yeah.
yeah, more like clothes. It's like
Uh,
if you looked at the total amount it would cost between like guys and girls, it was like a few million like
I think it was like 2 or
God.
3 million
Oh.
different. Yeah, it's a lot. I don't have it in me to grind that much for money in a Pokemon game for clothes.
Also, I really don't like that you can't change your gym challenger outfit, and I was like, oh,
Yeah.
like what's the point
Yeah.
of buying these gym outfits if like I can't wear them during that part? Because like I don't want to wear these like just in general. And also,
Disappointing too, because you get a free outfit after you beat every gym too.
yeah, and also that the biking outfit is the most hideous thing in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so ugly. I wish
Like
I
you
had
can
to wear
change
that.
the color on it, but it still looks
I
ugly.
just don't want to wear it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would rather just be in my normal ass clothes when I'm biking around.
Exactly.
I'm not running a fucking relay race on my bike. I'm just biking across the bridge. I don't know why I need to change outfits. What else can we talk about? Do y'all want to talk about well, so like it turns out that Team Yell, which is like, oh, they're supposed to be the set up for
Team
like
Yell.
the criminal team thing. They just turn out to be like the lackeys of one of the gym leaders.
Also, they're not really like villainous. They're just really stupid.
They're just annoying.
Also, like, this is the second time they've done that, like, gimmick of, like, they show off, oh, this is the villain team of this generation. Also, like, over to the right is, like, the totally not evil corporation wink.
Yeah, like I was kind of
Like-
I saw someone seeing this and I was kind of talking with someone like at the evil team of this game is actually just the gym people that are
Gym-
working for what's his
Chairman
face, right?
Rose.
Piers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or no, Rose.
Rose? Oh, that team. Oh, that
Yeah.
team. That team. Sorry, I thought you were talking about Team Yell still. Whoops.
No,
Yeah,
like
they're working
they're-
for Rose.
they're like a decoy for the actual evil team. That's all of the assholes that wag their finger at you like Sonic the Hedgehog when you fight
Oh
them.
yeah, and they don't even pop up till the end of the game.
Yeah.
No, and they have no personality. They literally just wear like the most bland ass uniforms and they have a big
Yeah.
elevator and that's their claim to fame. So
Okay, so that kind of goes into like when story stuff happened, and Leon and Sonya were like, "Oh, okay, no problem. We'll look into it. We'll take care of it. You just go on and do your gym challenge."
you fucking
and so you
stupid
do.
child.
So you
Yeah.
don't like. There's so much that must go on behind the scenes, especially when like the Gigantamax Pokemon are popping up. They're like, "Oh yeah, don't worry about it. We'll take care of it."
Yeah, it's like, let us fight it. Like, that's
Yeah,
sick.
in the other Pokemon games, you would be the one doing all that stuff, which was,
Yeah.
kind of fun, and then you get to experience it. And this one's like, nope, you're kind of
You get
Whatever.
you get a news clipping of like, oh, here's a Gigantamax Berserker that was, or like a like a Dynamax Berserker or whatever that was rampaging, and Leon took care of it.
Dynamax.
And
Yeah, it's dumb.
And it's like, I kind of wish I got to do that or something, I guess. I don't know. I'm going to I've told both of you this and like just laughed about this in general, but like I like Sonya as a character. I think the whole subplot about her uncovering the history of the Darkest Day is just the funniest thing in the world, because she keeps going to highly public places and looking at the most obvious pieces of art in the world and being like, clearly that this means this about the mythology, and it's like, anyone with like half of a brain could figure this out. How has no one figured this out yet? Like, I mean, there's the one thing where like they uncover the thing behind the wall, which is important, which like, okay, no one's clearly ever known that that was there before, so I get that. But like, there's just a bunch of like random murals and shit in like a fucking burger joint, and she's like, wait, no one's ever thought about this mural in any like important capacity before I showed up. And it's like, damn,
So,
no one in Galar cares.
So you guys haven't beat the game yet? Fun fact, she writes a book at the end of the game.
Oh no, I
About,
have beat the game.
Oh, you have?
Yeah.
I thought you didn't.
No, I beat it. I got
Yeah, it's just
there.
me.
Okay. Yeah, so...
That's incredible. Is it a book for children? Like... Or I guess it's for everybody in the Galar region.
It's for everyone, because that's where the stupid idiots Swordward and Shieldbird show up.
Yeah,
they're like, that book is dumb.
And they literally say that they left poor online reviews.
Okay, those two are stupidly funny.
Just like Swordbird because of his wiggly hair.
No, I like them because they're really dumb and everyone calls them weirdos, and they're like, what, how dare you?
Hate how they try to make you care about them in the
Oh yeah, I don't care about them, but they're funny because they're like stupidly evil and ridiculous. I kind of wish that the villain teams and like the overall plot had more to do with them than like leaving them for post game.
Yeah, it feels really weird. And also like, can I be honest? When the thing happened where Rose started the Darkest Day and we had to deal with that, and like that whole thing came up, I was actually kind of annoyed, because I was like, man, I would actually rather just be fighting Leon right now. I really don't care about this at all.
Yeah, they really like back-ended that, but like unlike Sun and Moon, where like it was at least kind of cool up to a point, because you like go into like the Ultra Beast dimension, and like it would have been cool if you had fought like Luzamine as like a weird Ultra Beast fusion, but now she just has Pokemon.
Sun and Moon did a much better job with like the villain subplot.
Also,
yeah, it was still like better despite like its flaws.
When Eternus came out, I was like, oh man, this would have been a really cool thing to see. Too bad about like 15 hours into the game, I joined a random person's camp and Eternatus was just there playing with a ball.
Oh, dude,
that was my introduction to the evil legendary antagonist of this game. Was like, I joined someone's camp and he was just playing around with the ball. I was like, this is amazing. I mean, I had seen it because like people were sharing it online and because like the leaks and stuff, so like I already knew what it looked like, but I was like, wow, this is a very awkward introduction to what is essentially the evil god antagonist of this game. I also don't... It's weird because what the game is going for like a weird pollution metaphor, and also like that's reflected in a lot of like the designs, like the fact that like Corsola is like a ghost now because like, oh no, all the coral is being harmed by like, you know, pollution, habitat destruction and pollution and all that, and like Wheezing is like you know, a giant smokestack that's like, I think they even say like, oh, they're used to like clean the polluted air, and like there's just a lot of stuff where like this game is suddenly really concerned about the environment. And then like Chairman Rose has like this big plan that's like, no, I need to cause this massive tragedy so that
to save us in the future
and make us stop polluting, I guess.
I don't really know.
I don't really get what he wants either. And like it suddenly becomes a story not about environmentalism but about fighting environmentalist like extremism that like just feels so undeserved and weird. And I thought that like where the game was gonna go is like, oh, this is a bad way of dealing with the problem, we're gonna come up with like productive ways instead. But no, it's literally just, okay, no, we're gonna arrest Rose and just not even worry about it. And I went, oh, okay. I guess it was, I don't know, I do not think it paid off well at all, and they tried to like work in this weird like heroic like prophecy legendary thing between like the two brothers and how they rose up and how like the legendaries with the sword and shield helped them, and I just don't think any of it really comes together, especially not with the gym challenger stuff, which I actually think is a lot more interesting than anything to do with any of that.
Oh man, the gym challenge stuff was the best part of that game. The story part was just kind of weird.
Yeah, because like where this game starts like to make me care is like I think there's some pretty cool character stuff in this game, but like anything involving Rose I just do not give a shit about at all. And
Yeah,
then,
I actually. Oh, sorry.
no, I was just gonna say, and then like when the post game stuff happens, like everything just feels so rushed involving those two brothers that like I didn't really. By the time I started to care about any of that, it was over and I was done with the game. So.
Yeah, because I was gonna say, speaking of characters, it's really interesting how you have three rivals in this game. You know, you have Hop, you have Marnie, and you have Bede. And like Marnie and Bede are interesting because by the end of the game, you know, they become gym leaders in their own right. Hop, you fight like 17 times.
Jesus Christ,
And
I got so tired of it.
He gets his own character development. Like, I can understand why people call him annoying because it's very obvious why he would
I
come
find
across
him-
that way to people.
I find him annoying from a gameplay sense. I do not at all find him annoying from a story sense, where I actually think he has a pretty good arc.
I agree. I actually don't mind Hop.
Yeah.
I know one of the common complaints is that he's too similar to Hal, but
I didn't.
I think he came
That's
into
the
his
Sun and
own.
Moon guy, right? For
Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted
But I
to make
feel
sure.
like Hop, had like a more nuanced like thing because he has like an older brother to like live up to and stuff. So like, what is it? I think some of the, like if you don't like Hop either, like I get it. I don't understand people say he's the worst protagonist of all. I mean, the worst rival of all time. Because y'all, if anybody who's saying that did not play X and Y, because X and Y had like the worst rivals of all time, and
Oh
that
my gosh, I know.
you might as well not have had any.
These?
Okay, no, carry on.
Yeah, you go on first.
I was just gonna say that I also really appreciated, and this is speaking like me as someone who went through college, decided that what I initially wanted to major in fucking was not for me as like a job, and I would be terribly unhappy doing it, and then changed majors into something I'm much happier with. I think it's a good message to teach kids, like, hey, just because you have like a childhood dream and you want to do something, if you find that it's not working for you, it is totally okay to change course and decide you want to do something else with your life. Like, that's a cool and healthy thing to do. And I'm happy that they put that in a game that's primarily for children. Because I don't think kids get told that enough.
And I think it's good because Leon's just kind of supportive of whatever he wants to do, too.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I'll just say, my one problem with Hop is that you fight him way too much compared to how much you fight the other two rivals.
Yeah.
Because you only fight them, 3 times overall? Because I know you fight them at least twice before the
championship,
the tournament, and then the tournament arc, and then you fight them. You fight them during it. But I wish the rival battles were spread out, and you saw the other two more. Because after Bede gets kind of taken away for destroying the wall, you don't see him for a while.
Yeah, Bede goes away for a while.
Yeah, and then like the fairy gym leader comes by and it's like, hey, you want to be a gym leader? And he's like, oh, what?
I really liked that though. That was really cute.
Yeah, that was funny, but like,
yeah,
you don't really see him.
Marnie is like barely there for the start of the game, even though she gets
That's
introduced.
That's what I was gonna
relatively
say.
early.
Same for Marnie. You kind of meet her in the hotel, then she kind of
like fricks off.
Oh, I don't know if I told either of you this, but when I first met Marnie, so the first 2 times you meet Marnie are both in hotels, and I thought that her gimmick was gonna be every time you go to a town and they're like, oh, you better go rest up at the hotel before you do the challenge tomorrow. I thought every single time you would run into Marnie and do a fight there, and I'm like, that is amazing, and then that doesn't end up being what happens. But I really like the idea that every hotel lobby you go into is just people constantly fighting and the employees getting annoyed.
Honestly, I think I would have preferred that because it would have been funny at least.
Yeah, and then it would be like you could call the hotel when Marnie was there.
Yes.
I've been trying to workshop that pun.
I wanted to
somewhere in
make
this
that joke,
podcast.
but you did it in a terrible way. So
I burned the ground.
yeah. But those two characters have interesting arcs because Beat gets character development, and then Marnie kind of does too. Like her whole thing with Piers is interesting,
Yeah,
but
I
that
like that a
doesn't come
lot.
in until like late. Yeah, I guess it kind of comes in later on in the game too, plus post game. But in other words, really wish that those battles with Hop were distributed all around to not just him.
Yeah.
Because they weren't they really advertised as your rivals also? 'Cause I remember seeing Marnie everywhere before.
Yeah, they were, like also, yeah, in the game promotions leading up to the release, so.
Yeah.
I also think
Also-
Marnie has like a really badass battle. I don't. Badass is a weird word to describe it, but I like Marnie's battle theme a lot, and I wish I got.
Oh my
the chance
gosh,
to
I
hear
love
more.
Marnie and Bede's battle thing. Let's talk about the music in this game.
It's good.
It's really good. I like the music in this game.
I think some of the
a
crowd
lot.
chants can get really silly, but overall, I think
I
they're
like
good.
them.
I'm gonna be that person. I actually really don't like the music in this game. Like almost all of the songs, like
Damn trick. It's first with Pokemon Sword, first with Yick, then with Pokemon Sword and
oh
Shield.
my god.
Here,
First
I
of all,
should
one of those
clarify.
is extremely
Yeah,
I
it's
should,
the
I should
most-
clarify by really like the music in this game. I really like the trainer battle themes in this game.
Yeah, same. I
Like-
couldn't.
The
I
rest,
can't remember the rest.
Yeah, yeah.
Like for me, I felt like a lot of the battle themes, like or just the songs in general, were like I don't know. Like this sounds like kind of maybe a little too harsh, but it feels like some of the songs are like y'all are doing this for the 8th time, so you just need to like come up with something that sounds similar. But to me, it didn't really like strike a chord. And then like, I mean, I guess that's like kind of it. Liked Pierce's like battle or like battle theme because it was different
That
from
reminds
like all the
me.
other ones.
You didn't get to Rose, did you? Because his is weird.
No.
His is like a JRPG, like boss battle thing with
Oh,
freaking
yeah.
Latin chanting in the background. It's so weird.
Um,
Oleana's theme is also very good. One of my favorites.
So like speaking of the music, the lack of voice acting in this game, while I get it and I don't mind that it's not there, when Pierce starts singing, it is the most awkward thing in the world.
Oh, that one was
so uncomfortable. That scene doesn't work. Yeah. I mean, that's everything that I feel like I wanted to really cover. I'm still also like kind of half and half. Like, do I want to write a review for this game and like do something with that? I might do that, but I'm not sure because also
All
I
right.
feel like
Well,
a
here's
lot
one
of
thing.
what I was talking about here. But yeah.
Favorite new Pokemon of the generation.
Oh, Raboot for sure.
Okay.
Morpeko is a close second. I like Raboot and Morpeko a lot.
Morpeko really grew on me. At first, I thought it was really stupid, and then just the more I saw it, it was amusing. Also, freaking hangry mode. Oh my
Hangry
god,
mode.
it's so dumb.
I don't really like Morpeko. Hangry mode is very strong, but let's see.
It's also the fact it just constantly is eating nuts that it has in its little dumb pouch thing. This is very funny.
Maybe like Centiscorch and like I know I said this in the first episode, but like I'm just not really feeling like a lot of the designs in Gen 8. I just kind of think they're just kind of
That's fair. I mean, there's
like
not very many that resonate with me either. Like, I really like Galarian Ponyta, but there's not many like designs I guess I really like as much as that one.
yeah.
Even though it's just Ponyta, but cotton candy.
I also, part of my problem is past Gen 3, I don't know where anything fucking comes from anymore. Was Phalanx in previous games?
No. That's a
Okay,
that's a
that is also very strong, and I love the edits where people just add music to its idle animation. Those are very funny.
I guess y'all want to talk about like Dynamaxing?
Yeah,
Okay.
actually, because that is that, and also I want to talk about the Gigantamax stuff too. I guess like since I feel like you two are probably like way more like knowledgeable about like the general like Pokemon gameplay and like how new editions impact it than I am because you just have way
No.
more experience. Oh, okay.
Trick, but not me.
Okay.
I'm not really into competitive. I like to trade, I like to breed, but I don't like competitive.
Yeah, it's not. I am not about that life either. So like, Trick, how do you feel like Dynamaxing like really plays into things, or like how do you feel it? Do you feel like
So
it's overall a positive change or like positive addition?
so I can't speak for it like completely because I don't play like what is it like cartridge competitive. I like dabble periodically with like Pokemon Showdown, which is like the online like program you can play on. I like keeping up with the news more than I like actually play any of it for some reason. I guess I'm just too lazy to make teams and play. But when I first like when they first announced Dynamaxing, like I thought like it was like halfway between like lazy quote unquote and a good idea because like unlike mega evolutions, like with Dynamaxing, you can like do it with any Pokemon, which is, good because like nobody gets left out. And then, later they announced Gigantamaxing and it's like this is just like boneless mega evolutions, but okay.
Literally leaving them out.
Yeah. Thanks, Game Freak. And then like so I liked it in theory, but then like once the game actually came out and I saw like what Dynamaxing was, I was like, this is like kind of it felt like a little uninspired because it's like part Mega Evolution, part like Z moves, and then you just kind of like mushed it into a giant Pokemon.
I,
And
yeah,
what
carry
it
on.
oh, and then like what it ended up being is like a mechanic that's too overpowered in like single battles. Like apparently from what I understand, it's not as bad in doubles, but like which is like the main official like format that like competitive Pokemon like the company like the tournaments like they have. But it's like unfortunate that it's like kind of like busted because it's like it's just like too overpowering because it allows like Pokemon to just like gain too much like momentum and like just sweep you. Like there's no like good counter for it, I guess, because like if the opponent Dynamaxes, your option is to Dynamax too, so like you can like stall out their Dynamax, or there's some stuff like you can just spam substitute if your Pokemon's fast enough, but then like that doesn't always work. Or there's like really gimmicky stuff with like doubles. I think I saw like a clip of it where like Grimmsnarl used Trick onto a like an Excadrill, and it like swapped over like an eject button, which or an eject pack, which is like if that Pokemon holding it gets hit, they get switched out. And then like the team members like Sylveon hit it with quick attack, so that was like a funny way to get rid of it. But there's not a lot of options. Like you have like obviously you can't switch them out or like force switch them out with like Whirlwind or Roar. You can't stall with Protect because it'll break through it. For whatever odd reason, like weight-based moves like Low Kick don't work on Dynamax Pokemon. So for competitive battling, like that kind of like what is it? You have to run like kind of weird sets because it's like, oh, what if they Dynamax and you just don't have like a move you can use against it? So it created like weird problems like that. Also, it's funny how like they made Gigantamax Pokemon too, but apparently like according to a lot of like competitive people, like Gigantamax Pokemon are worse because the exclusive move that they get is like almost always worse than if they had just had the regular Dynamax version move. So like I think at the end of the day it ended up being like kind of a good idea in theory, but like pretty bad in execution, which is unfortunate because like
I can only talk about it from a like single player like scrub, like I'm playing with my Tinker Toys through the story of this game like perspective.
Same.
But like I liked it at the start. I was like, oh, this is cool. And then towards the end of the game, I was like, as soon as I realized that every time it would be a thing in a fight, and I realized that every single time it was going to be, oh, they're going to use it on their last Pokemon. And also I realized, like, oh, there's only so many moves because it converts all the moves into, like, max flare. Like, I realized how limited and, like, samey it felt. And, like, I kind of wish that maybe they mixed it up a little bit. Like, I thought it would be cool if, like, oh, this gym leader's just going to Dynamax right away. And I thought, like, oh, you know, like, maybe catch you off guard. Like, that could be cool or something. But no, they always use it towards the end. And also the fact that, like, a lot of them are... This is actually more what I wanted to talk about, is how, like, it really feels like they made it in a way to tie into the online component of the game and this idea of, like, raid battles. Like, all of the Dynamax moves, like, boost your allies if you have any, like, stats most of the time, unless they, like, decrease or change the weather. Like, it all seems, like, very multiplayer focused, like, all of the moves and how they're designed. But I don't think it really pays off at the end of the day, and do you mind if we switch to talking about raid battles? I don't know, Trick.
Yeah, I was gonna say, can we talk about the online in this game? Oh my
gosh. It's bad.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so honestly, the DS and, like, 3DS Pokemon games online was good, and I don't know what happened here, and it makes it worse because guess what? You gotta pay for Nintendo Online, my dudes.
And
can I talk
really
about can I talk about the trading experiences we had?
Yeah, please do.
Like, I tried trading with, like, 3 or 4 different people that I know, and I don't understand why you can't just trade with people on your friends list.
It took us like 15 minutes to get that going because it just kept not working or not letting us see each other for some reason.
Yeah, that was...
For people who don't know, you have to input a 4-digit code, which is actually not that many digits, and I actually got matched with different people while trying to do this.
Yeah, that too.
But also, even sometimes when you're the only one inputting the code, it doesn't register. One time I tried with Trick, it took like 10 minutes. Like, it didn't connect us with anyone else during that entire time, but it just didn't connect. Then one time with Robin, I had to try like 4 different times.
Yeah.
One time got matched with someone else. The last time, hey, went through instantly. It doesn't make any sense. I don't know how they screwed it up like this.
That's
also,
bad.
like, when you're doing raid battles, sometimes you just won't get anyone at all.
The raid battle
like
thing...
the whole, like, sticker system to, like, join and all that is, like, why?
Well, especially, too, because those stickers don't go away fast enough as soon as you can't. Like, there's so many times it's like, oh, I want to join in on that raid, and it's like, you can't. It's because it's either full or, like, this is from, like, 20 minutes ago. And it's like, they don't update fast enough, and it just makes it really frustrating. And then I feel like the vast majority of the times I wanted to do raid stuff and I waited for people to join, nobody would join, or only one person would join, and, like, that was just really frustrating because then you have to deal with the AI partners who are terrible, especially late game.
The Magikarp that's, like, hooked up to a hose.
Yeah.
Or Martin Solrock. Thanks for cosmic powering, buddy. Really
don't even talk to me when there's that dude with a Wobbuffet.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I hate that shit so much because, well, the problem too is that in these fights, if people die too often, then you immediately lose, and if the RNG just decides to target the allies with terrible, like, Pokemon, then you're just fucked.
Yeah, the NPCs all have one brain cell and they share it, but they can't use it. They can't use it at different times.
It's really
like when
bad.
one part of the brain cell dies, they also die. It's bad.
And I feel like this is where you start to see the limitation of the fact that, like, these things can only ever have 4 moves, and most of the time when you're like most of the time I feel when most people are thinking about this, they're not really thinking of building their moveset around, like, double battles or, like, things like this, because, like, why would you? Because most battles are just 1 versus 1. So, like, it really feels like everyone I've played with, like, the thing that everyone just does is use their best attack. And I think that's really what they want you, like, they want you to be, like, supporting each other and doing a bunch of stuff, but, like, I don't know, like, I joined one of Julian's things and he was way ahead of me, and, like, we just completely got our ass kicked, and, like, I was very clearly not prepared, but it really just feels like at the end of the day, like, oh, you go into these and you choose something that can attack and do a lot of damage, and just, it is like a DPS race, and it just did not feel satisfying.
Yeah, If I remember correctly, they also said like they wanted this to be like the big like end game thing alongside competitive battling, which it isn't. So
Yeah, I caught the Gigantamax Snorlax, and it was such a frustrating experience because I only was able to do it when I was able to get into a raid with two other people, and then we had one AI partner, and even then we almost lost because the AI partner died like twice, and like we were running out of time, but like we just barely managed to do it, and it's just like the most frustrating thing. Yeah, I did not like that, and I don't really know. Like, maybe if there's one that has a really cool design that like I care about, maybe I'll go back in and see if I can get it, but I did not think it was fun enough to be a thing that they apparently wanted people to spend a lot of time doing, because it just is not fun enough. And like we said, like the online thing behind it is just so obnoxious to deal with.
Can I add one more thing about the online?
Yeah.
You know how in the I think it's the lower left corner of the screen, it gives you little updates and blips, and it's like that would be cute, except when you have it hooked up online, it's just all these random people that you don't know. It takes space on your screen, and even when you turn off the online, it tells you like, oh, you just caught a Pokemon. Oh, you just made curry and stuff, and it's like, I know, I just did all these things, and you can't turn it off. Why not?
Yeah, because, like, I do like it when it's like, oh, Julian caught an Oddish. Fuck yeah, Julian. But, like, I don't need to see that I just camped and ate and had a good time.
yeah, it's like, yes, thank you, video game. I know I just did
You
this.
can't, yeah. And unfortunately, it's like you can't just filter it to, like, friends only also. It's just all these random people I don't know. Like, I don't care.
Yeah, fuck you, Bobby. I don't care about the stupid curry you made, idiot.
It's not my curry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do we have anything else we want to talk about?
I guess not.
Not really.
Yeah, I think we're good. We can go to emails.
All right, let's do this.
Emails. Well, I guess we do have one tweet that was basically, I guess, we're kind of talking about, like, I can't. I had it pulled up and then I lost it again. But it was from Valdak asking basically if we thought the like backlash was justified, and like I think it got really vitriolic and like unreasonable. And
oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, like I said, I think a lot of this stuff, part of the game shouldn't have come out the way it did, especially when it comes to the online capabilities. Like how bad the wild area gets when you turn online is absolutely terrible. And it should not run that way. I do think they should have worked on this game more than they did. However, I do think people got really, really, really bad with the complaints, especially, doing stuff like sending death threats to employees and stuff.
Yeah, and all that.
It's too much.
Yeah, like they had to cancel like the launch day like party thing that they were gonna have in Japan because they were probably like afraid of like, crazy people doing stupid shit that they shouldn't.
Yeah.
Like, that's like... I think it also encapsulates, like, how, like, much of the fan base is literal children. Because of how, like, absolutely absurd, like, the complaints got.
No, you don't understand, Chick. The actual children don't care that much.
Well, okay, I guess I should clarify man children.
There you go.
Was, a non-existent amount of social skills, like... Because I wanted to like see the leak stuff. I was on like r/Pokemon a lot, like around that time. Like all the leaks were coming out, and it's like I had to like filter through all these like absurd like weirdos just like pissing their pants over tree textures and whatnot. It's like
the more I think about this game and its development is the more I'm just realizing like the things that people are actually mad about is the fact that like at the end of the day, like this series has gotten to this like place where they're doing almost yearly releases, if not yearly releases for some stretches of time. People are just constantly asking for more and more, and because of how the series goes, that means just everything needs to be better. There needs to be more content than ever before, and just like it is completely unsustainable. And they're like, I think normally what most series would do is they would do a reboot at this point, but unfortunately, because of how this series has been marketed and what people love about the series is all of the iconic characters and their designs and all, like, this series just can't do that as easily as other series can. So they're stuck in this place where they constantly need to one-up themselves, even though it's getting more and more expensive and is going to, like, take more and more time that they're clearly not allowing themselves or being given. And it's just unsustainable, and it's just part of this like weird capitalist game design industry problem where it just needs to keep expanding at a rate that is not possible over a long enough, like over decades. This just something needs to give, and what gave was, hey, we can't fit in all of these little critters anymore because there's just not enough not enough manpower to make all that work. So
it's unfortunate that, like, you know, they're getting like the brunt of it because people just, they also partially don't understand like how game development works. Like, I understand because it's like super frustrating when you think about it, because like, you know, Pokemon is like literally one of the biggest IPs on the planet, and the problem can't be solved by like just throwing more money at it, or if it is possible, it's clearly way too much money for like the Pokemon company to consider doing, and they won't.
I think it would just take a really long time, like a really long time too.
Yeah, like, because hey, this game, Sword and Shield, they sold 6 million copies. Like, if like that's a lot, they're gonna look at those numbers and be like, sweet, we barely did anything and we still made a ton of money.
Yeah,
and I say a ton of money, but like, apparently the video game sales only make up about like a third of like their annual like income. All their money comes from the merchandise.
that makes sense.
So like, yeah,
I'm not surprised.
so like, hey, anybody who was like, I'm gonna boycott the games, like, I get where you're coming from, but like, your money literally doesn't mean anything in the long run.
And like, I mean, like kids don't care. They just want the new thing. And like, for that audience, this game is perfectly fine. Like, I don't think any of those kids would even have any of the complaints we even said here that are less extreme than a lot of the complaints that people online had.
Unless if they're also going online.
Who knows? Yeah. It's just a weird, like, the thing I say for like the people who are really mad, and like, if I do write that review, the thing I wanted to leave off with that too, I don't know if I'll write that, because I honestly, a lot of what I had to say I just ended up saying in this podcast, but it's like, man, there's a lot of different RPGs out there. There are a lot of different monster collecting RPGs out there. Like, if this isn't the one that's doing it for you, go check out like any of the million alternatives. Like, you got Digimon, you got Yokai Watch, you got SMT. Like, there's so many out there that you can try out.
People are starting to make like indie RPGs that are literally Pokemon, like, as its primary inspiration. You know, like, go look those up too. Like,
you're at no shortage of alternatives if you want something that will fill the void in your heart that you are feeling with this.
Like, I get like that, you know, Pokemon might be a big thing to you, but you know, you shouldn't put all your eggs into this basket. Like, that's like, frankly, for any like fandom thing you might be into, honestly.
Well, if you stick with any given series long enough, at some point you're going to find something in it that disappoints you.
Because your expectations might just start.
Yeah, or just like different creators get involved, circumstances change, you never know. So like, I mean, like, always like just like, that's what I recommend. Like, think about like the things you like about the series, and like go search out alternatives that also have those in common, and you'll probably be a lot happier than just screaming about how the double kick animation just has the thing bounce twice, which I don't know, man.
And I mean, I think it's totally understandable for people to have disappointments or be upset about it, but there's a certain point where it's like, you gotta step back and really think if it's worth it. You know?
Yeah, people got very heated about this game that is literally made for toddlers and people who are, well, not toddlers, but people who are past the point of being a toddler. Like, this is a game for like 6 and 7 year olds who, like, it's
like, fam, like, breathe.
At some point you need to realize you are no longer the target demographic, and that is completely okay, and like, you can still enjoy it for what it is, but like, you also need to acknowledge that these games are made for those people, not necessarily like what long-term fans want and like the hardcore fans, because they actually make up a very small percentage of the player base. So yeah,
Yeah.
I think we can go to like emails proper, since that was like a Twitter thing. Thanks,
Woo,
Feldak.
emails.
Woo.
Ultimate Trainer says, I really hate the concept of Pokeballs. Pokeball Tech can use Pokeball Tech can catch Pokemon gods and legends without fail with the Master Ball. Who's to say people can't just use them to catch people and enslave them? Are you guys pro Pokeball? That sounds very accusatory.
Oh, wait.
Would you want to see a traditional Pokemon game that doesn't use them? How would you try to transition current traditional Pokemon games to not use them? What's your favorite Pokeball design?
Ooh, that's a lot.
Yeah, I like the ones that are they the premium ones that are just the white with the red line that you get if you
the
buy a
Premier
lot.
Balls.
This is the Premier Balls, right?
Premier, yeah, I think
Yeah,
those
you
look
get
really
them
sleek.
from buying 10 Pokeballs. Yeah, they're okay. I mean, I like the standard Pokeball.
Yeah, it's iconic.
Yeah, can't
it's
go wrong
classic.
with the classic.
Yeah,
honestly.
it's pretty basic, but it looks, you know, that's what it
I
is.
think the Master Ball with the purple is also pretty dope.
Yeah, the Wario underwear ball.
I think it
Or
would
is it-
actually be really cool to have a Pokemon game where you didn't have to have a Pokeball and you could, you know, just have Pokemon join up with you.
And they kind of
That'd
set a precedent with that, with like Yellow and Heart Gold and Soul Silver and all those games, huh?
Yeah,
like
I
they
think it'd
follow
be
you.
it would have to be a very different kind of Pokemon game.
Yeah.
But I mean, there are ways that it could work. It would just kind of take a lot of time to think about it. But yeah, I'm down. I'm not, you know, pro-slavery. I'm not J.K. Rowling. What?
Topical.
Yeah, my Pokemon likes this. It's fine. Go in the Pokemon.
Yeah, my Pokemon
You
take
just
trans
gotta,
rights,
you
and
got,
so do
gotta
I.
feed it curry until it's happy.
Master has given Pikachu a Pokeball. Okay.
Whew.
Right, that's enough of that one.
Okay. Yeah, let's go to the next one. Thank you, Ultimate Trainer. This is from
I
Uzuki.
guess I like the luxury ball design. That one looks neat.
I don't know what that
I
one.
don't
Hold on.
remember that one.
I'm gonna look up.
Yeah, that's the other thing, is that I don't remember a decent chunk of the designs too, unfortunately.
Oh, it has like it's like all black with the yellow rings and
Oh.
looks like a snake or
Fancy.
something.
Fancy.
Okay. Let's see. Uzuki says, "Hey gang, although I haven't gotten very far into Pokemon Shield, it's an enjoyable ride, but there are little things that seem off, like the cinematic cutscenes being very animated but lacking any voice, making it feeling extremely awkward. Certain areas feeling not fleshed out, and the story feeling a bit more rushed than usual. With all that, would you like to see the Galar region expanded upon in a third version that will finish or add stuff like in RSE, or would you prefer to a sequel game like Black and White 2, or do you think they'll skip both as they did with X and Y?"
Honestly, I wouldn't mind if they did more in this region because, again, hey, I feel like it's a lot of wasted potential, and that's kind of how I felt with X and Y. I really wouldn't mind. Yeah, wait, no, I already said that. Yeah.
I do wish that they would do like downloadable content and like updates and stuff. Like
There we go. DLC would be good.
The one problem, and like I have to admit, like this probably would be an issue, is like Fang. I kind of said something similar in the first episode, and Fang pointed out like for a lot of kids, their parents still don't like to like buy things online, even if it's through like a game store thing or something. And I thought like, that is true, and I think Nintendo knows that, and I don't know if they'd want to do that, but like ideally I would love them to do like expansion packs for this game where it's like, hey, we added 150 more in a bunch of different areas, and
There's so much they could
like,
expand on in this game too.
yeah.
On top of that, you know, they could just continue to wring out like Game Freak's employees and then just have them make another game for $60 and with no quote unquote effort. There's a
Yeah.
well, I mean, a lot of their like expense, I mean. So unfortunately, like I think the like really detailed expansion packs would be nice, but unfortunately it's not really gonna happen. But something that I'd like to see is somebody that I saw this pointed out somewhere online. I kind of want them to get rid of the trains, because like if you look at the map and then like notice, if you just take a look around the map, there's a lot of empty space that we just don't travel to, and like
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
feels like some like it's literally like your adventures railroaded in the sense in that like you're not exploring as much as you have in like the previous games because you're
Not
just
only that is you don't even really use a train that much.
yeah
Game.
that too, like despite the fact that there's trains everywhere, like they just like take up map space and like can't explore. Like it's kind of unfortunate. Like
Yeah, it'd be kind of neat if the trains could take you to areas that you can fly to.
Yeah, I think that answers that. Thanks, Suzuki, for the question. This one's from our pal Derry.
Hi, Derry.
yeah.
Derry says, "Howdy, y'all. It is Pokemon season. Personally, I've never really cared about actually playing Pokemon. When I was a kid, I had the compulsive need to try to level up whatever Pokemon I thought looked cool, so my games just wound up being me constantly switching Pokemon back into my team to grind with little progress being made. That said, I always look forward to new Pokemon releases because I like all the fan art people make. I especially like it when people make fan art of Pokemon based off of one-off gimmicks like making Alolan versions of Pokemon that don't have one, or Gigantamax versions like this really cool Mimikyu I saw. 2 questions. 1, if you were the leader of a gym, what Pokemon type gym would you run? And 2, what Pokemon do you most closely associate with? I like Esper. They always look like they're just vibing.
I think there's a lot of answers for me.
Yeah.
Meowth or Ampharos. Meowth because cats, also money, and it's kind of like the little Asian good luck cat, you know, which I always love and has a big part of culture for me. So
Yeah.
Meowth. Trick.
I don't know. That's kind of hard actually. Like I don't know.
I will say,
like,
Slowbro is an eternal fucking mood, dude. I always have a weird shell thing biting my ass too for some reason. It's a problem I should probably get looked into. But
That's a very rosin core Pokemon.
stop using the term resin core. This is the worst
Like,
word that has
like
been
no,
invented
you
in
have like a
2019.
very like like you look at the face, look at Esper's face, look at Slowbro's face. You like Shelter too, don't you?
Yeah,
And like,
I love Shelter.
yeah, I know you do. Yeah, all the Pokemon that you like have a very similar looking stupid face going on. It's
Yes.
like those Pokemon are like they got 2 brain cells. They're currently using one. The other is off. Who knows where?
Yeah. Come on, Trick.
I don't know,
Yeah,
I
this-
can't really think of a Pokemon that like I vibe with like that. Like I don't know. There's a lot of
Damn.
Pokemon I like, but like
That's fine. That's fair.
You're not a cloister guy?
no.
Do not. Let's not engage in that.
I
Okay.
feel like there's something I'm missing here.
Gym leader types, my friend.
Okay. I would probably say Darker Ghost because I'm a dumbass edgelord.
I think I would really like Psychic, but I think a lot of people say that I would use Water. So one of those two.
I like Ice and Psychic types, but then like people who know me like well would probably say Fire because I like sound like I get angry all the time.
See, like, I feel like people would say I would either be electric or steel because of, like, how, like, much technology shit is involved with my life, like, especially through work and all that. So I could see that, too, I guess. Has there ever been a poison gym?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, in Gen 1.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Come on, Rosin.
Poison seems very underrepresented in terms of people's, like, liking types.
Well, I think a lot of poison is also usually mixed with bug types too, isn't it?
Yeah, except for, like, the snakes, yeah.
Yeah, like later on, there are more like pure poison types, or like or mixed with others. But early on, yeah,
Has there
Same with,
ever
like,
been
how
a normal gym?
Yes.
yeah.
Okay.
Like
Gen 2.
you
Oh, yeah,
well,
that's
don't
right.
you also remember Ruby and Sapphire? Your dad was literally the normal type.
That's
later.
true, that's true, that's true, yeah.
His name was Norman. the normal gym leader.
Oh, I never put that 2 and 2 together. Fuck.
Yeah.
Hey.
Can't believe Norman Reedus with your dad.
Oh shit.
And you named him a deli bird and put him away.
Yeah.
It all comes back.
Always love to hear from your podcast. Love to hear from y'all, even if I never show up in calls. That is okay, Derry. Also, in the last episode, Fang mentioned that Moon RPG was called an Undertale-like. Toby Fox has actually been on the record saying Moon was an inspiration for Undertale and links to a tweet thread where Toby Fox talks about how cool Moon is. So that's cool, and I'm still looking forward to Moon's eventual re-release on Switch and localization. That seems like a good game.
Speaking of Toby Fox, that Toby Fox song in the game, am I right, guys?
Yeah.
What is
good.
the song? I don't remember it.
It's in the Battle Tower.
Oh, that's why I don't know.
Yeah, it's a good song. You can tell it's Toby Fox, though.
Oh, it is such an... As soon as, like... Because I had heard it before, but I kind of forgot about it, and as soon as I heard it, I'm like, man, that is such a Toby Fox-ass song. Like,
it's a good
Toby
song.
energy.
It's very much his style.
It is so obvious which one it is out of the game soundtrack. It's good.
Oh.
I'm happy he got the opportunity to do that.
Oh, yeah.
I'm
glad.
This one's from Mizu, who says, "Hello, Champion Rosin," which please don't call me that.
Champion Rosin.
Only my ex-girlfriends have been allowed to call me that. No, and other nerds.
Oof, this is why they're exes, huh?
Yeah, they're like, I don't want to call you Champion. That's very unhealthy and creepy. Is there any? Fuck, I can't focus now.
Champion Rosin, pay attention.
Please stop this. Is there any aspect of the Pokemon franchise that annoys you with every game because they don't change it? I hate that they can't be bothered to actually model the mons to scale. It'd be hilarious to not even see some of them because they're like 1 centimeter tall.
Yeah, they used to do... I mean, I guess it wasn't Game Freak specifically. It was Genius Sonority that made like the Coliseum games. Like, if you played Ruby and Sapphire and you didn't look at the Pokedex entry, I wouldn't have known that Roselia is like 6 inches tall. You know? Like,
yeah, you're right. Yeah, oh man, have you seen screenshots of people using like Wailord in this game? It's so funny because it's so tiny.
Yeah.
I still remember the day I realized I was taller than Charizard and just being like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Charizard's not that big.
Charizard's 5'7". Charizard's a manlet.
Yeah.
Shoutouts to Alice. Alice, you need to get on one of these one day.
She's just gonna call you Branlet the entire time.
I know, it's fine.
Okay, Branlet. No, that I think that just became worse as the games transitioned to 3D.
Mm-hmm.
Like 2D, it wasn't as bad, but like with 3D models, it's just really noticeable.
Like, they just can't handle like the 3D space. The third dimension is too much.
Pichu is literally 1 foot tall.
Oh,
Makes sense. Very cute.
Is there anything that you wish they do or should have done with Sword and Shield? I think it would have been cool if they stopped being as safe as possible each generation. Imagine, for example, a Dynamax Wailord that's too big to even fit into the gyms floating overhead instead. I mean, I think my thing was just I wish they got rid of routes and just they leaned way harder into the open world exploration thing and just expanded the wild area to be the main traversal of the game. I think that would have been a lot more interesting.
yeah, I think that's kind of an interesting concept. I wouldn't have minded. I really wish they did more wild area, like just in general.
Mm-hmm. Like more with the wild area, maybe like, I guess, man, maybe just give them like another fucking year to develop these games. Like, come on, or
Just,
like
like,
have
more all
another
around.
company do it, like Genius Sonority with like the Coliseum games.
Honestly,
You know?
I think that because I know some people have been talking like, especially like critics that are kind of like closer to me, that like maybe they play one every few years, but like I know Gita Jackson kind of referenced this in her review, but it's like it's becoming apparent what the limitations are of like the core gameplay, and like they probably shouldn't change it because I mean it has its appeal and they're popular for a reason, but it would be cooler if they start to do spin-offs like the because I mean Coliseum was a little bit more,
It was different,
edgy.
like all double battles, little quote unquote edgy.
Yeah, like
edgy.
but I mean it felt like it was going for a kind of a different
Different, like,
take or an
tone.
audience or
Yeah.
tone, yeah. like I remember thinking like this is the teenager one like when I was younger, which is stupid because it's still made for kids, but like it had a little bit darker tone. It was a little more serious in some ways, and like I think it would be cool if they did at least something like that where they had spin-offs that like yeah, like similar gameplay and like maybe were able to focus on some things and maybe be a little more complex, or at the very least offering more difficulty options in the games themselves.
Yeah,
that'd be
like
nice.
instead of making the most obscure way to put a difficulty modifier in your game, yeah, I would appreciate just, a proper difficulty selection from the start. Because I do like playing, the main, like, story just for the gameplay. But, like, because, like, the main games are too easy, I have to go to, like, ROM hacks or fan games to get that itch if I ever get it. Which is, obviously a hit or miss problem.
Yeah.
I
What?
kind of
Oh yeah, carry on.
no, I was gonna say I kind of wish they did more of like a. I mean, story is obviously not like the biggest selling point of Pokemon, but I wouldn't mind if they kind of expand on it more because when it's bad, it's very noticeable.
It gets very Saturday morning cartoon in places.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. I feel like that would have really actually helped with the game a lot.
Yeah. What do you want from the next games, or even just whatever they do next for Gen 8? I think that they set themselves up for a sequel instead of doing slightly upgraded third versions. Pretty much all the characters you meet are at some new point in their life at the end of the game, and a time skip could expand on that. Maybe add more parts to the wild area since it just stops halfway through the map. I mean, it'd be kind of cool. Like, I think what I would prefer is, like, if they do a sequel or something, which I don't even know, like, I feel like I've had my fill. I kind of neglected to say this earlier, but, like, I feel like now that I've played this, I've had my fill for the series for a bit again, and, like, maybe I'll pick up the next one, but, like, if I do, it probably would be on sale or something. I picked up Ultra Moon just to be like, oh, in case I get the itch to play another one of these, like, in the, like, whatever, like, I'll have it on hand, and I got it half off because those games like rarely go on sale. So I don't know, I might just play that. But like if they do a sequel, what I would like to see if I ever got around to it is like completely new cast of characters, but like Marnie and Bede are still like the are still the gym leaders. Like I think that could be neat.
I mean, I think if they did do a sequel, some of the gym leaders would be returning, while Marnie and Bede would definitely be in there.
Yeah.
I think maybe, hopefully, they would expand on the cities. I would honestly, one of my big issues with the wild area is it just kind of feels like a big old field with some stuff there.
Yeah.
I would have actually really liked more detailed environments. And I think that could have looked really cool. Because some of the routes actually don't look that bad. The problem is they're just kind of nothing.
Yeah.
But if the wild area could have, even a little bit of that detail, it would have been a lot nicer.
Because like a lot of, like the first part just really looks like a forest and like field with like rivers and shit, and like
like weird little set pieces, I guess, like just thrown about,
like a haunted weird tower thing,
yeah.
and like it doesn't start to get more interesting until towards the end, but then like it ends.
Then you're at the
end. Like imagine if there was a part of it that was like a little forest that had those glowy mushroom things from like the other
or even like the part with the tower. What if it was more like ruins, or or like what if there was a cave there or something? No,
you
they don't have anything like that.
Yeah. Also, I think it's really goofy how like the final area is like this weird like island thing that's like has like a weird Stonehenge on it that's off to the side that feels really tiny, and the more time I spend there picking up stones and trying to catch the evolutions, realizing that it's actually not that cool of a place to be the final area.
Nothing. It's just there's Stonehenge with some grass.
Yeah.
They didn't do much with those areas.
Yeah.
And it's disappointing. Because they especially with the Pokemon that show up on the overworld, it could have looked really cool, like seeing Pokemon in an environment, But it wasn't.
But I mean, if they make a sequel, what timeline are they gonna follow? Because if y'all don't know, like in Pokemon Shield, like what is it, like because Melanie wants like her son Gordy to like take over, but in Shield, like they get in a big fight over it, which apparently splits the town, and like he doesn't take over, but in Sword he does. So like,
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
yeah,
Huh.
They could find some way around it. I don't think it'd be.
They both quit and someone new came in.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that's yeah,
Double battle, double gym leader. They've done it before. They can do it again.
yeah.
Although they have
Oh
different
my
types.
god, wait a minute. What's the last time they did that Gen 3?
I don't even know.
I think so.
'Cause,
I mean, oh wait, I
maybe?
think wait.
Well,
Yeah.
because the other gen, that's when they had that wasn't double battle. That was is that rotating, the one with the waiters. I can't even remember.
Was that? Was it?
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's been too long.
Shoutouts, anti-shoutouts to rotation battles. That was stupid.
I don't even know what those
Yeah.
are.
You
That's like
rotate the
when-
Pokemon in battle, Rosin.
Yeah, like
Okay.
there's like 3 Pokemon on each team out at the same time, but like you could just choose to rotate. So like whoever ends up attacking or whatnot, it was stupid.
Yeah, it kind of shows it hasn't really come back, and you don't even know what it is.
Yeah.
They obviously aren't going to do triple battles anymore because frame rate will
Triple
probably
battles take so freaking long.
yeah.
I cannot do.
And then Mizu closes out the email by saying, "I know there's a lot wrong with Sword and Shield, but the gym battles, multiple rivals, music, and probably most of all, not being shown the entire decks beforehand for once made these the most enjoyable Pokemon titles I've played in a while. Sorry for the short email." I think yeah, overall I had a solid time with it. I enjoyed it more than I thought I would.
Yeah, I agree. I had fun with the game. There were a lot of shortcomings that were really frustrating. Again, especially with the online aspects, but like, it was a really enjoyable game.
Oh
I thought it was
yeah.
fun.
I got a solid 40 hours out of it, and most of my major problems didn't really start to like annoy me until like probably the last 5 of those hours.
I enjoyed it. I think it did what it, was meant to do, which is, I guess, entertain me for what a mainline game can do. But actually, I just got reminded. It's unfortunate that, this has been like a noticeable problem X and Y, a little bit less noticeable in Sun and Moon, but like Sword and Shield, like the other two, are still very front loaded in that like up to the first 3 gyms, it's like a pretty noteworthy adventure, and then like the game picks up the pace like crazy. Like the downtime between gyms 4 and 5 are like literally nothing. Like you just go from one to the other like
Oh yeah,
nothing.
you're
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, and I think like from afterwards it's a little better, like unlike X and Y. Oh my god, X and Y was really bad about that, but yeah, kind of wish that was something that they can like fix, but that one might be a little too hard for them given
I think that it kind of goes into like, remember in the old games though, where you would have to like deal with like the villain teams and whatever story stuff was going on.
yeah,
You don't really do that here because they're like, oh no, little kid, don't do it. Go
Yeah.
on with your gym challenge.
yeah, unfortunately.
Just thanks, Leon. You and your Charizard, my favorite new
My
generation Pokemon.
Yep.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, fun game. Understandably, might be disappointing to a lot of people, but it's not bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that was the last email, so I feel like we can wrap up here.
Move on to a different topic, you mean?
Oh no, what?
No, I'm just kidding.
I was about to say, I didn't prepare for
I
shit.
don't know. You got the 2 people that play a bunch of gotcha. No, we're
Oh, no. Y'all
Well,
can
actually, I
record.
just changed my last name to Skywalker, so let's talk about that.
Oh
Oh,
no.
Jesus.
Oh no. Y'all can make your own podcast. I'm leaving. No,
Okay, bye.
damn, I can't believe I can't believe my podcast has been taken over. This is the last time you'll hear my voice on this feed. No, I did create a little list here just because this is probably going to be the last thing that goes up before, well, like other than like a Patreon vlog that I have to do because y'all pay me to do that. But this
I'm sorry if you do.
no, don't say that is good quality.
I'm kidding. I'm
supporting.
kidding.
Yeah,
Ross
give
and
Rosin
Rosin's
money.
content is good. Don't
Yeah,
worry.
Thank
I'll
you.
put more content.
Please give me money. I'm not. No.
Engage in capitalism, you know.
No,
do
but
it
you're
because-
giving to you're giving
yeah,
to
you're
indie
directly,
creators.
yeah,
That's
giving
fine.
it
It's
to
not.
somebody.
It's not a cut. Jeez. Wow. Now who's being not supportive?
Okay. Oh, and also, one of my friends pointed out that I was a major dumbass for not doing this as a reminder, and I probably should at the end of every episode. If you want to have an ad on this podcast, go ahead on Patreon, and there is a $12 tier where you can advertise just whatever project. Just reach out to me beforehand and just kind of let me know what it is, and if I feel like it's a good fit for the show and I'm happy to shout it out, go ahead and pledge to that tier, and just send me, if you want to do like an ad read, I can work with you on that, or like if you just want to give me the details on what it is you want me to do an advertisement for, I can do that for you. And it's a good way to, like, if you have a creative thing that you want to show off, I'd be more than happy to give it a platform here with the audience I do have that listens to my stuff. And I think it's better than just doing like ads for like fucking razor blades and other stupid gamer shit. So like mattresses and chairs.
Yeah, Casper mattresses.
Yeah, I know. Squarespace can no. So yeah, one of my friends was like, why the fuck didn't you talk about that in literally your second episode? And I'm like, yeah, you're right. I should probably say that that's a thing every time. So people, know it's there if it's their first episode or whatever. So I'll do that. It probably won't be as long as this time again, but yeah, other than that, just because like the decade is closing out here, this is the first decade my channel has been a thing, which is, it's cool. It's pretty special. I had just a very short list of people I wanted to thank, and really it's more like groups, just because there is way too many people to ever possibly like just wrap it all up in one go. But yeah, obviously, if you've been a constant viewer, or even honestly, if you've just viewed a few of my things, even if you just discovered me recently, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to experience my stuff and, leaving whatever feedback you have left, or, just taking the time to engage with it at all. It really means a lot to me as someone who tries to create stuff that people enjoy. I want to thank all the Twitter mutuals and fun people I interact with on there, even if you don't watch my shit, which, there's a lot of Twitter friends I have who do not watch any of the stuff I make, and that's cool. Y'all have brightened up my day many a times. I want to thank everyone who is a part of the Rosin Brand Discord. I know I'm not in there nearly enough, especially when I get busy with days like today, or I mean months like this month or whatever, and I wish I popped in more regularly, because y'all deserve to, just let you know that I appreciate y'all a lot, and I'm happy that we've created a cozy little community that has overall gone pretty smooth and has been, a fun and just enjoyable place for people to spend their time and, feel like they have a cool place on the internet to do that and hang out and have a good time. I want to thank the mods on that Discord, some of whom I just kind of made mods and didn't really, give too much warning beforehand, just because we needed people who could ban people if they were being assholes. So, if just in case you're wondering how I decide authority in my life, that's how I do it. But yeah, special shout outs to Laura, Zayla, Leon, and Ultimate Trainer. You have all done a wonderful job making sure that everything is, being taken care of and nothing gets out of hand in there. Thankfully everything has mostly been okay, but every once in a while someone suddenly reveals that they're a Holocaust denier and needs to be taken care of. So yeah, that has luckily been a very rare, very, very rare occurrence, but sometimes some weird stranglers and assholes walk into places they don't belong. So everyone who has ever participated in my Patreon, new and old, no matter what level of support you give me, it genuinely means the world to me. And trust me when I say every cent I make from Patreon and YouTube ad revenue feels so much more rewarding than any of the money I've ever gotten at any of my big boy jobs. So thank you so much. It just means the world to me that people would go out of their way and use their hard-earned money to support me of everything in this world that they could possibly support. It is honestly like just a baffling thing, and it's still hard for me to wrap my head around it that I am worthy of that in some people's minds. I want to thank everyone who's ever guested on any of my videos or channels or have been podcast co-hosts or guests throughout the many years. Yeah, this y'all. It's, you know, this is, you know, it takes a lot of time to record these, and like y'all spend your nights or however long talking about shit. Before the show started, Trick and I were talking about the fact that we recorded a 5-hour podcast together a few years back, which is just ridiculous to even think that we'd, you know, spend that much time doing anything or whatever. But
it's fun. Hell yeah.
Yeah. And fuck. God damn it. Again, I told myself I wouldn't do this. I'm getting a little teary-eyed, but I wanted to thank y'all, and like y'all know who you are if you're listening to this. It's everyone in the like my primary friend like Discord group and all that. But I want to thank y'all for being some of the most supportive friends I've ever being the most supportive friends I've ever had, and just sticking with me, and that we've all been able to stick together and be there.
Yeah,
for
we
each
stuck
other.
with you this long. We're not leaving now.
Yeah.
Like Marie, I legitimately remember around like 2014 having a conversation with you, like we were just kind of giggling about like, oh yeah, like the idea that like this group would still be around after like 5 years, and like a lot of us have stuck around for like longer than that, and it's just it's really special, and I'm happy that we've all been able to, like, it's such a cool thing to know that like we all met and we've all been able to do this together and just help each other through bullshit for so long. It's genuinely one of the like highlights of my life. So
Oh man, same here.
Yeah.
And you know, I hope we can keep being friends through the decade as well,
hell yeah.
even if we're not doing stupid things together.
Yeah. For sure.
I think my
And you,
life
the
has
viewer, are
probably-
well. You're not my friend. You're just listening to this.
Brought to you by viewers like you.
Yes, I have some boundaries. I'm not friends with anyone who listens to my stuff. That's is a very one-sided relationship. But no. But I am happy that you have been able to listen on to my friend groups and listen to our weird shenanigans, because they get really weird sometimes. But yeah, just in general, I'm really happy with how everything's gone, how everything's been. The more I stumble onto like different weird nooks and crannies of YouTube, the more I realize that many people do not even like get to the place that I'm at in terms of like having people supporting them or having people even bothering or giving them attention. And you know, every like day that I think about that, I just am so, you know, I don't want to say feel blessed, because I'm not that person, but like I feel honored that people care this much. And I hope that going into the 2020s, we can make all this shit even more fun and even better and even cooler. So yeah, I'm not going to stop making videos anytime soon. Y'all ain't going to get rid of me. So hell yeah, let's close out the decade and say bye, y'all. But hope y'all had a good time listening to this podcast. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you next year, because I'm gonna be a douchebag and say that. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.